The second film argues that even if tourists are acting responsibly, the combined effect of them all is killing the countryside.
Well, I can't help but feel that the people that fought to have our national park set up at the turn of the century would turn in their graves if they could realise or see how many people are actually visiting these areas nowadays.
We don't appreciate the countryside, and in generations and years to come, next generation, there'll be no countryside for them if it keeps this up.
The Peak National Park, although it's called a national park, is far from it. It's a park, in fact, which the vast majority of the land around us is owned by private individuals and organisations. Those individuals' livelihoods depends on actually managing and making the land productive, as well as trying to sort of conserve.
It is a very beautiful landscape, this. But it does have specific problems in specific places. This is one.
People love walking in areas like this and riding mountain bikes or taking their four-wheel drive cars up. But some of this land, the actual surface of the land, is so fragile that it can be broken very easily. And once it's broken, it gets washed away by the rain and you get really severe erosion.
Well, 10 years ago, there'd be grass down the middle and just small tracks. Probably in 10 years' time, it'll probably be twice as deep as this if something's not done about it.
The initial parts of the erosion is caused by recreationists, walkers and mountain bikers. But it's when the weather starts to take over that we're into a different ball game. In order to repair this particular gradient from down there up to here is going to mean thousands of pounds.
I think the biggest threat facing this national park now is traffic. If you imagine 22 million people a year come here, that's more than any other national park in the world except for Mount Fuji in Japan. I mean, it's a huge number of people, and 95% of them come in cars. Now, although it's 550 square miles of land, and there's plenty of space for people to come, the road system was never built to take that amount of traffic. So it's causing huge amounts of problems in terms of the congestion, erosion, damage to verges, more and more demand for car parking, but as soon as there is extra car parking, there is more demand for more car parking. It just brings more cars in.
As we stand here now, there's the congestion, there's the noise, there's the traffic jams, but there's also the atmosphere. The atmosphere here is very heavily polluted.
The cars that they come in are creating all sorts of problems with pollution, added to pollution blown by the wind from the cities, and it all adds up to a higher level of pollution from traffic fumes than you get in central London. And it's crazy. You don't expect that in a beautiful country area like this.
Well, there are lots of ideas to reduce the amount of cars, possibly getting people to leave the cars at home and come by rail or park and ride into the area. But basically, a lot of people are just not prepared to get out of the cars. They have a love affair with the car, and really, it may be the case that that's not going to work, and we have to try and stronger measures to actually stop people coming.
More and more people that we talk to and that we listen to are saying that really traffic has got to be controlled, there's got to be better management of traffic. And it will not surprise us if not far into the future we're talking about charging people to come onto some of the roads in the national park.
OK, let's see what we know about national parks in the UK. The national parks were set up to protect beautiful areas for the benefit of the nation. Today they account for 10% of the land in England and Wales. The idea of the UK's national parks came from the USA, where the Yosemite National Park was the first to open back in 1860. In 1949, UK national parks were designated, with the first, the Peak District, opening in 1951. There are 13 national parks in England and Wales. They are the Peak District, the Lake District, Snowdonia, Dartmoor, the North Yorkshire Moors, the Pembrokeshire Coast, Exmoor, the Yorkshire Dales, Northumberland, Brecon Beacons, the Broads, and 2 designated in 2004, the South Downs and the New Forest. The UK's national parks are administered by the National Parks Authority. Its job is to manage the different interests of those who use the parks by promoting opportunities to understand and enjoy the park's special qualities. It also works to conserve and enhance the natural beauty, wildlife and cultural heritage found in national parks. The national parks are used by a wide range of people for many different types of activity. Here are some of the organised clubs or associations that use the national parks. Organisations like these sometimes form interest groups to campaign for their own needs. Here's an example of an exam question. This time it asks you to look at the cartoon and answer 2 questions. Pause the tape and try to answer each question. Your first answer should include some of the following. The cartoon shows the pressure on countryside areas in national parks as a result of the number of visitors travelling by car. It illustrates a problem faced by honeypot sites. That is where so many people visit that the site becomes less attractive. People visit these areas for their natural beauty and the peace and quiet of the countryside, but can find themselves stuck in traffic jams. The problem caused by too many people using cars in the national parks can also include traffic congestion, noise, air pollution and the negative impacts on the look of an area caused by large car parks. For the second part of the question, you could have mentioned that planners can use a number of different solutions. They could restrict access at certain times of the year, ban cars from congested areas, establish one-way routes to control the volume of traffic, develop different routes to and from national parks, develop alternative sites in the national parks to attract visitors and take pressure away from popular areas. Some of these could be near towns and cities, for example country parks. They could charge for the use of certain popular routes at busy times and for parking. Park and ride schemes could reduce traffic. And trees could screen parking areas. That completes this section about national parks.